Now, to break this all down, we're joined by our expert panel, Kyron Skinner, Fox News contributor, Jamil Jaffer, assistant professor of law at George Mason University Scalia Law School, and Niall Gardner, former senior advisor to Prime Minister in the UK, Margaret Thatcher, and director, of course, at the Heritage Foundation. Great to have you all with us. Let me come first to you, Kyron. I don't think anybody anywhere in the world is arguing that this was anything but an extraordinary military operation carried out quite brilliantly by our intelligence and military forces. And the result, whether you call it that they were looking for regime change or not, is a change in the regime. How do you see what has happened over the past 24 hours, Kyron?
I like the way you just put it. There is regime change, but regime change in a very different way than the U.S. has proceeded in that lane in the 21st century. When Trump talked about regime change a bit with Maduro, it was to offer him an off-ramp, which he ultimately did not take. But President Trump has never said that he wants the United States to occupy that country and figure out its government and select its leader. The U.S. deciding to run or take over Caracas is a temporary measure to stabilize what would be otherwise an immediate power vacuum. The military competing, turning on each other, the possibility of a bloody civil war, outside malign actors from Iran and Cuba and China coming in. This is about protecting the Western Hemisphere, hence America first. The U.S. is part of that hemisphere. It's very specific what he's attempting to do now, and it's different than nation building in Vietnam, nation building in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places that the U.S. has failed to make a political difference.
Let me bring in Jamil here. Jamil, as a professor of law, how do you see the legality of this operation, and what do you see coming next?
Well, look, Jonathan, we know that the U.S. has done this before. We did it in Panama. We got Manuel Noriega out. This is not an unusual thing. In that scenario, the U.S. cited self-defense. The same rationale here. The claim is that Venezuela and its leadership presents an immediate threat to the United States, or its ostensible leadership. Obviously, Maduro is not the actual president of Venezuela. He's a fugitive from U.S. justice, and we brought him to U.S. justice now in the Southern District of New York. So, look, in the long run, though, the question is who's going to replace him? And we have a person, Maria Corina Machado was the candidate for president. They pushed her out. There was another candidate that actually won when Maduro kept power. That's the person who should come back. This idea, though, of the U.S. running it and taking the oil supplies and selling oil to other countries, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because how are we going to carry that out? We don't have any forces on the ground. We don't want to put forces on the ground. So the reality is we got to get a Venezuelan leader in there, let them take leadership, and make sure they do the things the U.S. wants in our region. I agree that we should ensure that we have the Western Hemisphere secured, but going in and taking over for Caracas, even for a temporary period of time, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and we can't even pull it off.
Niall, as we look at the pictures there of Maduro and his wife, we should remember, arriving earlier this evening in New York, and now being held, by the way, at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The legality is one thing, Niall, and that seems to me, on the face of it, not a particularly good argument by Democrats that this was an illegal operation. He's an indicted criminal. We just gone and got him. It doesn't really matter what his position in Venezuela was. He's indicted in the U.S. But what about what comes next, and what Kyron and Jamil were just both talking about, Niall, about the difficulties here? And do you think the president misspoke when he said we will, quote, run Venezuela? Was that just a bad choice of words?
Well, great to see you, Jonathan. First, I'd like to say, 3 cheers to President Trump for an extremely successful operation. This was a stunning military success for the United States. There's no doubt about it, actually. And I think that this is a demonstration of American power and leadership on the world stage. In terms of what happens next, of course, you have the whining Democrats complaining about the removal of an evil, brutal dictator Maduro, and that's what the Democrats always do. They always whine. And at the same time, you have a lot of complaining from the European Union, from the United Nations, etc. The reality is, of course, that the United States is now stepping in to ensure there is stability in Venezuela, and that we do not see the return of the Maduro regime. And so President Trump is absolutely right to say that the United States is going to steer the ship very, very carefully. And it's vital, of course, we do not allow these monstrous communist, socialist, tyrannical haters of America to return to power in Venezuela.
Yeah.
So that's the immediate goal for the United States.
Yeah. All right, Niall, Kyron, Jamil, much more from you over the next 2 hours. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.